Hi guys, welcome to this video about the discussion about the radar when at November 2nd in Tampa Bay, when we had 4 confirmed touchdowns of tornadoes. These were not huge ones, but at least there were touchdowns, and one was in my area. And you can see this by the blue point here, and that's really interesting because usually we don't get a lot of severe weather in this area. Usually it's very dry, and usually thunderstorms are really avoiding this area. I haven't still found out why. Probably it's the most western point of Florida. I mean central Florida or South Florida, and probably so that means it get a lot of strong sea breeze. And out there here in the west there's a lot of warm water. It's usually much warmer than in this area here along this. It's usually colder, a little bit, or cooler than out there, so usually it produces a lot of energy out there. When it comes closer, it loses some energy. Sometimes it's also aligned north-south, and there are many things. There is definitely another big discussion, but I wanted just to show you the weather or the rain radar during this tornado, because it was somehow really interesting. That was the line, I mean the front of the, that was the cold front. So let's go a little bit back, maybe we can see that. Or here I have a far view, so you can see where it was coming from. So here we have the, it was really more or less straight, so we didn't have much of a bow. Maybe here we can see a little bit of this bow. But when it comes closer, it doesn't look like a real strong bow. It's not actually what I can see. I don't see any really strong bow echo, so it was pretty straight. I mean, here we can see a little bit before the front, but it doesn't do much regarding producing waves or something like that. This is really interesting. What's also interesting, that we had already we had a lot of rain at noon. Unfortunately I don't have these pictures, but it was we had some drizzle or light rain at noon, and until you see these are the last showers. I mean, not real showers. It was totally overcast, no sun, and it was just there were a few sprinkles, and everybody expected not much power, but obviously for some reason it got some huge intensification in our area. So let's go back to this image. The strange thing is, actually you have this straight line, and in our area it has this setback, which usually happens, and this indicates that it usually dissolves. So usually these fronts get very weak in our area, and they finally dissolve, and they sometimes they go around us, a part in the north, a part in the south, and then it builds a line again, and usually it spares us out. So it's also interesting here in this area, which usually we have a lot of activity. There was a shower before the front, which sometimes also takes a little bit of energy. So when you look at this thing, you would really not expect much of activity exactly in this area. I mean, there's more like the bow going like this, so you would expect something like here maybe, or here, or yeah, here Tarpon Springs. I think they had something. One of the biggest tornado confirmed tornadoes have been in this area. It's a big, was a really big surprise. I actually expected nothing. Most of the people did the same. So it's really difficult to see much on the radar. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the radar. I don't. Yeah, I don't have a really detailed radar. It's just 20 minutes into, I mean, labs jumps. So because I missed that, because while we had the touchdown, it was so much confusion, and we had I mean, so much dirt around the house, some damage, and so, and I was yeah, busy with that, and so I missed the detailed rain radar, and so I had to grab this a little bit later on, I mean, yeah, during the night, and so I had only this available. So this is some interesting thing here, but I don't know if there something happened, but it got cut up somehow, and then yeah, it pushed a little bit. When you go to this picture, maybe we can see it pushed a little bit, but it didn't do too much. And this is after that. Oh my god, here we have, yeah, so, and this was after that. I have another video, let's go to that. So here we have the front in an early stage, I think. Where did I find? Yeah, here we see it's 11:40. It's before noon, about 4 hours before the front arrived here. It was just really weak, and most of the people expected that it will more or less fall apart. Even the meteorologists here on the TV stations, they said we will have a few showers and maybe a rumble, or I mean a thunder or two, and not much. And then in a sudden it started like forming a really nice line, as you can see here, and it got intensification. I think it was usually when we have a situation like this, the El Nino and the front is pushing from the west side, like from Texas or something like that. We usually have this situation in March or April or something like that, and most of the meteorologists probably were referring to this situation. And in this situation we have some of the coolest water in this area, so we don't get any kind of intensification because of warm water. But it's end of October, and we had one of the warmest, or the warmest September. I mean, we had the warmest months ever here in September, which is usually June or July or something like that. We had it in September, and even October was really warm. So the water was really warm, and that maybe was the cause. I don't know. I've never heard any details. This is just my personal experience and my opinion. So I think maybe this could have triggered this thing. So usually it will fall apart, but this time when it happens rarely like this in autumn, then it can get maybe intensification instead of weakening. So you can see it form a line. It had a gap, but it had another thing in the back. So let's go a little bit ahead, and yeah, it formed some kind of strange thing. Here we have almost like a bow, which would show some intensification and still some really intense intense rain in the back. So a huge thing, huge intensity, huge thing, huge power out there. And here it really, you see that this is some kind like of a bow. And when we look at the bigger picture, and here still in the back some kind of front. And as you can see, when we go back and forth, you see that this actually, this part here was some kind of a squall line. When we go further, now I mean here on about 3 o'clock we had the touchdown in our area, and when we go further you will see that this line pushed further down. It was not part of the original front anymore. It was moving in another direction, like southeast, and it was some kind of a squall line on top of all the other showers. So hope you can see that. And we move a little bit back and forth. When you look at really this thing, it goes down to Miami or even further in a really fast push. That was not the normal speed of the cold front. It was much faster. So this must have been some kind of a squall line, which then aligned or matched with the other part of the front down in the south, something like that. So, and then it disappeared late in the night out in the ocean. So it was some kind of the start, the beginning of this squall line, I think. Probably this big part produced this squall line which went down, and when it hit the warm water it intensified, and then it produced this 4 tornadoes here. It was a really strange thing, really difficult thing. You can see it moved way in another direction than the rest of the front here. This is moving totally different than this is moving. So from my perspective, I think this was really a squall line, and it was pushed by the rest of the front. And yeah, so I think I don't have more of this stuff. So this is just a thing at almost normal speed from the app, I think, more or less, or no, then I moved it back and forth. So yeah, the app had a little bit difficult, or it always has a little bit of problems maintaining like a steady pace. That's a little bit bad, so it's really difficult to see this. But if you were interested, I hope it still gave you some indication of the whole thing. Maybe, I don't know, when you will watch this and try to analyze and what happened, how we can improve forecast, because the forecast was not so good. So maybe as a bonus for you, I have some additional pictures which I made on the TV screen. So we had this when they played this back. Here again, this yeah, I mean that was some kind of bow here. It's a little bit better visible. So, and this, when you project this to the east, then it would hit this. So yeah, somehow this was the bow which then finally triggered the whole thing. But you see the tornado warning is further north, where they usually have more strong or more strong thunderstorms. Here to the south, this area, usually we get really rare strong thunderstorms, and especially in this area. And but it didn't matter in this time. So the warnings were definitely in the wrong area this time. So here a few pictures about the damage. Another one here, and here I think that was from channel 8, something like that. Here confirmed touchdown, and here we have something, but that was a little bit further north, and we had this thing then moved, I think, up to the north and then to the east. It was really strange. I think it looked like in my area it was really moving, like moving from south to north, but I have no absolute proof about that. Here a little bit more closer where we have high wind speed. So here probably it went up to north, and then normal with the front it moved inland. And here this thing, here we have a map which they where they showed most wind shear, and as you can see, it was not even here in our area for some strange reason. Here a little bit a wider picture of the wind shear. That was a funnel, but not from here, but from Spring Hill, a little bit more to the north. And here again the video, which you can also find as a separate video on YouTube. Of course this won't be good quality, but so you don't have to look for the video. So here we see it again, so from really from left to right, but I didn't see the center, unfortunately. I mean, this was I didn't watch too much in this direction. That was just the recording from a really old cheap camera, like security camera. And here the other picture, here is south, here is north, here on this side west, and hope you can see it coming. It's the other thing. It was really crazy for about 5 seconds. Here another shot of the TV screens, but that was already later. Probably this was really close to the impact. Yeah, a little bit later too. So not much of the bow here. Maybe it then moved a little bit further north. Oh, here interesting, we have some kind of video. I didn't remember that I took this nice shot, so probably this is much better flow of the radar. And that was the warning, tornado effect until 3:30, but I think I got it way too late. Yeah, that was the complete message. So yeah, I think 18 minutes it's enough, but anyway, if you are looking for any information, maybe then it helps. If you are specifically looking for any information about this tornado event, November 2nd, 2018, and I hope I was able to help you a little bit with that. If you have any questions or comments, just write in the comment section below. I'm always happy to talk about these things, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.